Yeah. All right, this should be all good. All right. I got that recording too.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to Uncaged 3. Terrible precedent I've started. We're gonna start losing track and count. And we have a very special guest today, Jimmy Lafakis, professor here at Butler University.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a professor here. It's my first year teaching. Obviously, I just had both you guys in my class. SPM 325 Esports production. I loved it. Yeah, I had a great time. I hope you guys did too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're just saying that for the cameras, but no.
No,
no,
it was a great
Yeah,
experience.
off the books, worst class I've ever taken. No, it was great. Great class, very relaxed, very fun.
Yeah.
Matt and Jack, you're here, sweet. All right.
You guys both got an A in the final, so we'll put that out.
I failed his class miserably.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I have to retake it.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
both have to retake it. We're actually getting held out of graduation. Yeah, I was gonna graduate 2 years earlier, but Jimmy failed me, and I'm being held back from graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
Don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
All right. So a little bit into how did you get into teaching? Because before teaching, you were a streamer. I checked the other day and it was 6K followers on Twitch. That's pretty good amount of followers. Like, why'd you leave it all behind to come teach a bunch of troglodytes how to produce esports?
That's a funny question. I mean, my biggest thing is paying it forward.
Mm.
That's like my biggest thing in life. And if I didn't talk about it as much in class, I should have, because the biggest thing as a professor, as a teacher, you can do is pass along what you've learned to a new generation, to guys like yourself who are doing it, who are learning it, who have awesome facilities and access that back in the Stone Age when I was here we didn't have. So you guys have all that different stuff, which is awesome. But really just trying something new. I streamed for a long time.
Mm.
4 years on and off, over 4 years. I gave a lot to my stream, my chat, but it was time to go in a different direction, and I loved it. I loved being a part of it. I got my feet wet a little bit last semester. I taught a 1 credit hour pass fail course. Do want to give a shout out to Daniel, your classmate. He was in class with me last semester. Poor guy had to deal with me 2 semesters, but that was a lot of fun. But this was a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Because this was 3 credit hours. This was A through F scale. No, Sam, you didn't fail miserably. Still got to put final grades in, but I think you're going to be all right. But no, it was just trying something new. And as I mentioned, with you guys, ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of being a substitute teacher. I know that's a little weird, but it was something that was always in the back of my mind. And I got to realize that during this semester as well. So just taking my life in a different direction.
Mm.
I'm going to be 30 next summer. So, yeah.
You've reached unk status.
Yeah.
Status.
Oh, I've been there. That when we got to 27, I'm 28 now. I turned 29 in July.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully
that answers your question.
So, kind of you streamed while you were at Butler, correct? Or
No.
not while you were here?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, I guess you are a Butler, alumni coming back teaching and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
So, what would you say your time at as a Butler student was like versus coming back here, seeing everything that's changed and teaching?
A lot has definitely changed since I was here, for sure. But it's been really neat. Where we're sitting right here, this used to be a diner. I told you guys that in class. It was a different time. But a lot of it's still the same. You still walk around, it's still Butler. It feels very similar. This is my favorite place in the world, hands down. No doubt about it. This is where I want to be. So when I had that opportunity, and I do want to give a huge shout out to folks in CCOM, Lee Farquhar, Dean Valenzano for helping me out and allowing me to do this, because without their help, I'm not here. Ross Hollabon too. But those guys paved the path for me. I had Lee, Dr. Farquhar, when he was here in his first year as a professor. So, and to see all that come full circle is really neat. I love my time as a Butler student. I was here from 2015 to 2019. But again, paying it forward, that's my biggest thing.
Yeah. So, started teaching last semester, pass fail course. What was that like? Because I know this course is probably a little bit different than that one.
Uh, the way I would describe this was that on steroids.
Okay.
Like we went way more in depth and way more in detail than I did last semester. And again, it was a pop-up class. So much has changed. We didn't have pop-up classes when I was around.
Mm.
We met 4 times, 4 evenings in the fall semester. But the best way I can describe it to you, Sam, is I love sports. I love the NBA.
Mm.
I was on an Exhibit 10 contract, a 2-way contract, trying to get my feet wet in the league.
Yeah.
And now this semester is the real deal.
Mm.
This was my NBA, really my NBA debut.
Mm.
I'll never make the NBA. I'll never be with your glorious King LeBron. But that was a situation where got my feet wet a little bit, and then what happens at the end of the season, for those who don't know, is you get the contract guaranteed. Guys who are on 2-way contracts get their guaranteed contracts for the next couple of years. So I just had that analogy in my head, and I was busting my butt to try to be able to, get my stuff guaranteed.
Yeah.
So hopefully that makes sense.
So yeah, definitely, content creation, stuff like that, it's definitely something that's like new, in my opinion, to like universities. Or it's not really an opinion, it's more of a fact. It's like
It is.
it's a
Yeah.
newer concept to learn that like, it's a new form of like media and stuff like that. And I think learning about it in school is actually pretty more important than people think it is, because it is like, it determines like a lot of futures. People make big money off of this.
Right.
Like TV, a lot of people, like kids nowadays, like they don't sit down and just like turn on live television cable anymore. They go on YouTube and they look for stuff. They go on like a streaming platform, which is honestly pretty similar to YouTube and stuff like that, or like live streams like Twitch and whatnot. So it's like, it's definitely a new form of like media and whatnot. And like, I think learning about it's pretty important.
The world has totally changed. That's a great point you brought up, and I do have some experience in to be able to work with you guys and teach with you guys. That's my biggest thing is to show you guys a piece of what I know, but ultimately have you try it for yourselves. Both of you had experience doing it already, so you guys are like light years ahead of the game. I mean seriously,
Yeah.
and like I told you at the beginning, way ahead of where I was. So even if you're making YouTube videos and trolling and having a good time, it's a step in the right direction. From now, and I guarantee you that here's some Unc wisdom. You go ahead and you look back on it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you streamed. You'll be glad you did YouTube videos. So it's a fun to look back at this part in your life. For me, it was my Instagram when I was in college. I
I love
posted on
looking at your Instagram too,
yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah. There's a lot there, but like on my Instagram, it's like a living, breathing. Like you see all the different stuff, and you see how I changed, and you see what I was focused on, and there was a big shift at the halfway point in my college career where summer 2017 I decided I was going to take things a lot more seriously going into my junior year, and that's why I was able to make my junior and senior year the best they could possibly be for myself. Freshman and sophomore year were good too, but I was just like I don't even know what I was doing. I was just out there just messing around. I mean I was trying my best, but
Yeah.
I locked in before my junior year. I said, okay, Jim, we got to do something. Something's got to change.
Yeah.
So that was me, and I know you guys are sophomores, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just didn't say that willy nilly.
something I think is also kind of cool is that how like content creators are getting like really like high quality now. Like some of them are like mini movies, like stuff that
Yeah.
they're putting out, and I think like
Yep.
that could be its own like crossover if like you start with content creation and then you're like actually going into like the film or broadcast industries. Like I think that I mean if you're interested in either of those two industries at all, you should just go ahead and start making content like on YouTube.
sure.
Just go ahead and get the
Yeah.
jump on it, get experience.
Yeah, it's definitely all starts somewhere, and I think in recent years that starting point has like changed over towards like being good at content creation and whatnot. And like because film, it was typically you go straight, you jump in straight in deep end with all the filming, and like you know how to make movies, but if you can't make, simple videos of yourself nowadays, how do you expect to make a movie? Like, or just simple YouTube videos in general. Like, how can you, without that kind of experience, go into, you know, let's say you're working on a Marvel movie, like it's impossible.
I'm glad you brought that up because earlier this semester I had the opportunity to watch some of the film students with the short film they made cycle in LA, and that was really cool. I
Mm,
think they did a really cool job with that. I watched it with them in Atherton, and they didn't know me from a can of paint,
mm.
but it was fun. It was a fun experience to be with them and see that. But you're Sam, you're absolutely right. You it's a good thing to know how to do.
Yeah.
And I was just telling you before we started filming, the best thing you could do is start as early as you can. And I would say you guys are, like I said, well on your way. I know you were in high school,
Mm.
so we'll talk about that.
So, kind of leaning more into, you teaching recently. Got any fun stories from subbing? I know you're subbing the little kids, you
Seventh,
get
eighth grade, that's
your
got to be an
seventh, eighth grade,
experience.
there's got to be something fun that happened. Like, I know it's a small pool, but
No, I'm actually gonna talk about something that's gave me a lot of hope and inspiration.
oh God.
No, seriously. No, like I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I do want to give a shout out, and who knows who's gonna watch this. And I hope a lot of people do.
Mm,
Fisher Junior High, We the People team. These eighth graders were amazing, and they had nationals last week. And I wish I could have went, but obviously I had to be here. I was able to be with them and watch them prepare and train because I was subbing for the whole day for their teacher. Oh my gosh. I did We the People in fifth grade. These guys were unbelievable.
what is We the People? Like, what is that for people that don't
So,
know?
yeah, so it's a national convention where you have debates about the American government and policies and a lot of history and social studies type of stuff.
Mm,
So that was just incredible to see them recall and retain so much information and be able to present it in such an eloquent way. And again, these guys are 13, 14 years old, but it seemed like they were grown. I was just blown away by them.
mm.
And again, they competed at the national competition. I saw some stuff on Twitter over the weekend, and I know they did well. I would love to know because I'm actually going to sub there tomorrow.
Mm.
I want to ask how they did, but it was just incredible and it blew me away. I know you're looking for stories of kids having fun and doing all the different stuff, but that experience, because I knew they were ranked nationally. They finished second place at another national competition, but
Mm,
those guys were awesome. But I got to be part of an orchestra class
mm,
last week. That was new for me. I played percussion in a middle school band a long, long time
mm.
ago. But again, orchestra. These are fifth and sixth graders. Blew me away.
Yeah.
The violins, the strings, you name it, and you could tell they were having fun.
Yeah.
And that was something where that was definitely a lot of fun. You walk around the halls, you hear some crazy stuff, but I love it. I in a past life I did fundraising for schools. I'm really enjoying substitute teaching.
Yeah. So, kind of on to the next part of your job description,
Oh, jeez.
esports. What was your initial thoughts of like esports? Because you kind of like you've been around long enough to watch it
Yeah.
grow into what it is. Like when it got big, I think Trey and I were a bit younger than like someone with the mind to comprehend at like I'm not calling you old, but
You are. It's
But he
okay.
is, yeah.
I mean, it's
I'm
a
just
fact.
saying that you were at an age where you could understand as a like, teenager, like, oh, this could actually be a big thing back like, when it was first starting. Whereas us, it was like, oh, cool, these guys are playing video games. I want to do that when I grow up. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Like I watch people play games competitively since I was God, I want to say 9, 10 and whatnot. And I've been playing games all my life and it's like,
Yep.
wow, people are turning this into a living and then it's just grown into something just out of like insanely. It's just grown insanely fast. So I kind of want to know, like, what you thought going into, like, as it was coming up and whatnot, and like, feel free to talk all the smack you want about like what you thought initially about esports. I know a lot
No,
of people thought it was like, nothing to, be worried, like not be worried about, but it wasn't going to be anything huge.
for some folks, you got to see it to believe it. And for me, I watched this germinate from the ground up when I was here. I will never forget one night just toiling away in Fairbanks. Yes, I was a good student, believe it or not. I tried to be. And they had a meeting because the esports club was just getting started. And in Fairbanks 110, where we had the class that day. That's a special room for me. I spent way too much time in there. So it was cool to be able to teach a class in there that day when we had to. And just being there and seeing it, for me, the start of all this stuff and seeing people compete was Rocket League. That was a game I played a little bit with some guys in the soccer team my freshman year. Eric Leonard, if you're watching this, shout out to you, man. I do want to give him a shout out because he was all about Rocket League. But that's where it's kind of started. And then you go a couple years, and obviously COVID hits, and I'm working my first real job 1,000 miles away from home, and it's blown up. And I told you guys in class, I went to the NBA 2K League Championships in downtown Indy, and that was an awesome experience in 2022. Wow, 3 years ago now. But yeah, it was awesome. But the whole esports thing for me started here. We're just observing it and seeing what it was and what it now is just, I mean, it is awesome. The fact that we get to have class here and talk here every day is really neat.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely like a unique scene because like with traditional sports, you have like the NBA, which is basketball. You have the NFL, which is football. You have the whatever baseball is, MLB. There we go, got it. Um, but for esports, it's like it's all these different games under one title almost. It's not really one title. Like there's obviously VCT for Valorant,
Right. LTA.
LCS or whatever
Yeah,
league.
it's so stupid. They changed LCS to LTA, which
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
but
but like, there's so many different leagues within the umbrella of esports, which is
Right.
it's been very interesting to me to see how that like plays out because like even us like with just Butler Esports, like it's like, well, what do you guys do here? It's like, well, unlike Butler Athletics, like that's basket, like when you say you're on the men's basketball team, you're there to play basketball. When I say I'm on Butler Esports, it's a lot more like I play two games here as of right now. I play Valorant and Marvel Rivals,
Right.
and it's like I feel like esports is just that unique field where like it's so much more possible to be in that like multi-talented, multi-game talented, field. Like I know a
For
lot of
sure.
people who are just talented at multiple different games, and I don't like. Obviously, there's athletes that can do that too, but it's a lot harder because it's more of a physical sport, while esports is more, cognitive. So it's like if your brain works a certain way, you're going to be good at X, Y, and Z, and it's going to
That's
be
a great
pretty
point.
easy, at least at collegiate level. Tier one, obviously, pros aren't jumping in between games. That'd be stupid. But collegiate level, like you can play multiple games and still compete at a high level, and I find that like it kind of reminds me of high school when athletes would like to do one sport in the fall, one sport in the spring, except I'm doing both at the same time.
Yeah. What you guys do, I love seeing it. And again, that one night, just randomly, just meeting in Fairbanks, a
Mm.
couple guys, I wasn't part of it.
Mm.
I was, again, toiling away. But these guys were talking, and it has just grown. And now, for me, the best example, when you guys were at Mizzou and I'm watching the stream,
Mm.
like that like when you put that in, I put that in my brain, it just blows me away
Yeah.
when that you guys are able to do that. For you guys, it's like, okay, we're going out there, we're doing whatever. To see where this started from and to have been here when this was starting to become a thing, and okay, we're going to compete and they're going to play Rocket League against, I don't know, like Seton Hall or something like that.
Mm.
And like now, you guys are taken to a full-fledged deal. It's being broadcast live. The Mizzou guys are broadcasting that.
Mm.
You guys are broadcasting. You guys just finished 24 hour.
You can
which
talk about that in a
I
minute.
mean, if you want to, I mean,
That was something.
Yeah, definitely.
for me, I never did one. I told you guys I did a 12 and some change.
Hmm.
Um, but 24-hour, much respect.
Yeah.
I got all the respect in the world for you guys going out there and locking in and finishing the job. And
Yeah.
I'm able to tune in whenever. I popped in, I lurked, I saw you streaming.
Yeah.
You were playing something.
Yeah. I think.
You're a busy guy, man.
Yeah.
You're so you guys. I know you guys are grinding and putting the work in. So
Yeah.
all I can do is tip my cap.
Yeah. That 24-hour was it was something
It
else, man. It
was
was
exhausting.
a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be.
Like we got to like the 5 a.m. mark pretty fine. Like we had a ton of
Yeah.
people still there up until like um well till 5-ish. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
then the Valorant team a lot of them left, and then
Yeah.
it was just like four of us, and then like we were trying to figure out what to do, and we ended up like taking some
Yeah.
shifts
Like
and
we took
stuff.
shifts. Like I was like,
oh, you have to.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
well, we didn't initially, and then I think another thing that we ran into was that like our schedule, we made it tentative, very flow like heavy based off of what we want to do at the time, and we got to a point where it's like we were running out of ideas, and it was really hard to like generate, like what are we gonna do now? Like it's pretty simple to just say, oh, just go on stream and play video games, but it's like it's a lot harder to keep it entertaining for 24 hours because it was like we got to a point in the stream where it was like I don't know 5 6 a.m. and it's like I'm just gonna run a Destiny dungeon with someone else who was there. Something that we'd never even thought of doing on the stream because
Hmm.
Destiny's not competitive at all, or it's not like very well, it's a popular game, but it's not like a huge. It's very pretty niche, and it's like we just need to do something now to kill some time, and
Yeah.
so like we
Yep.
hopped
I
on that.
I never thought I was gonna get to a point where I was like, I don't want to play any games like right now, like any video games.
Yeah,
Like that was the first time I think I've ever like been like, dude, anything but video games. Like that was the thing.
yeah,
I was so worn out. I
yeah.
was just like, this is rough.
I
But
didn't I didn't play video games until the following Monday, I
yeah,
think. I
I
I
still
took
don't
the
think I
entire
have.
weekend and laid in bed.
As you should.
Yeah.
You got to improvise.
Yeah.
You got to be able to improvise, and that's not just a thing for content creation, streaming. That's a whole thing, a part of life.
Yeah.
So again, respect. I know it was tough. I've done long streams. For me, it was streaming every day
Mm.
for a long time, and I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear
I will
you
say
for sure.
it was definitely fun being at the park after hours.
Yeah.
That was something I enjoyed.
And
I,
like even when we kind of like wanted to take a break and we started playing chess, like we were able to turn that into like content. Like
for sure.
we
I
ended
love
up
that.
we
I'm all about that. I want to give a shout out, another shout out. I'm just giving shout outs left and right. I'm like Oprah. You give a shout out, you give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Matthew for that day in class. He asked me if I was done presenting. I said, yeah. He just locked in. He set everything up. You guys were setting everything up. You guys were
Mhm.
working real hard to get that done. So
Yeah.
that's big time stuff right there.
Yeah, definitely a big shout out to Matt because like
Yeah.
even like what I know and what I've been able to do, like I mean he taught me all of
Yeah.
it.
It's the
So
same for like editing stuff like the
yeah,
podcast like this podcast that's gonna come out. It's like I've taken classes here, but like I was kind of getting speed run taught by Matt at the beginning of the semester and continued. So yeah, he's definitely been a big help, just not only to us as individuals, but the program as well. And like honestly, the university as a whole, because this content we put out is like, you know, it's under the university's name. So it's like,
Yeah.
hmm
yeah, it's definitely like, just a big help. He does graphics for Clues too, for their like Broadway shows that come here. So I mean, he's all over the place, but he's definitely putting in some work.
The biggest thing for me was his assistance in giving everybody the tour that day in class.
Hmm,
That was awesome.
yeah,
I really appreciated him in doing that because, for me, I was a one man band,
yeah,
you know, again, in my first year teaching. So the most important thing that I'll take away from this semester, for me personally, is that I learned from all of you. I learned a lot from you guys this semester. Seriously, I learned a lot. Um, and I'm a person where if I'm locked in on a goal, like I do it myself.
mm,
But sometimes you need a little bit of help. And
yeah,
Matthew's actually helped me a lot, whether he realizes it or not. So
yeah.
I do want to give him a big shout out.
I also thought that tour was great because it showed the people who weren't like involved with esports here initially. Like I think most of the class wasn't even involved like with esports and whatnot. Like that this
Yeah.
like that this place isn't just for the teams and stuff. Like anyone can come here and make content, um, like learn live production. Like we've talked about this, kind of backdoor conversation, but like in both of our opinions, if you're a CCOM student and you're not in this space consistently, you're kind of trolling. Like okay. We run so much live production out of this
You
building and
really
in that
do.
production room, and it's a lot of the same equipment. So it's like all these CCOM students in here to run live. It's more like work experience. Like I have so much more experience working in this place with this equipment than I would any of the other CCOM buildings and
That's a great point.
outside
Yeah.
of classes, because it's just so much hands-on live production stuff that we do here, as well as like you can learn how to run your own one-man show here, like with the stream booth and whatnot. So we have a lot to offer, and not even just CCOM students, anyone. Like if you want to chill, play games, probably eat Shimba Bowl when that's open or whatnot. Just
Yeah.
like you can, like this is an open space, and I thought Matt's tour did a pretty good job of showing like what we have to offer.
With the free to play stuff that he mentioned and we were talking about, that's big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Sam. That's a great point. And again, that's where you guys can take it now.
Yeah.
That's you guys have all this stuff at your disposal, but then the question becomes, are you going to use it?
Yeah.
Are you going to take advantage of it? And obviously you guys have. My class was unique in the sense that we had sports media guys, esports guys, mix of
Mhm.
both. So that was a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
you got it. You're that's a great point. You're trolling. That's funny.
I
But
genuinely, like, you're trolling. Like,
I
come on,
mean,
man. Like,
here's the thing.
you are trolling your
you got
career.
to. I agree.
I went from someone that had like little, well, I guess not little experience streaming, but like I went from someone at the beginning of the year just having to have a lot of help running streams, like just sitting there on the spec while Matt did a lot of it. And then by the end of this year, I'm gotten to a point where I've been able to
Run a
pretty
24
much
hour.
run a 24-hour stream.
Wow.
Like,
That was all Trey in the production side.
so like,
Wow.
well, shout out to Matt too, because I did have to call him a few times, like
Yeah.
3, 4 in the morning. So, but
You gotta
like,
have
no,
help.
it's definitely an experience. Like, if you're not taking advantage of the fact that you can get a ton of free training, like, because we always need people to like help out and prod. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely easier if you have more than one person. Like, I know there's times when I'm sitting like doing a Marvel Rivals stream where I'm like trying to spectate, but then I also have to like quickly jump over to the other computer for like to mess with the stream. So it's like having at least 2 people there sometimes just is really helpful. So
Mhm.
All right, if you're watching this, go help these guys out.
Yeah. Please don't troll your college experience away.
Yeah.
Get some experience.
My college career is done, and I can do what I do. So the biggest thing that I wanted to make sure I said here was obviously our class was different than it has been in the past.
Mhm.
And a week before class started, I emailed you guys and I said, okay, guys, this is going to be way different. And this is going to be something that we're going to learn and we're going to do together. And you guys just took that and ran with it and worked with me on it. And that's what I really appreciate. And I know it wasn't esports production in the sense that, we had that tour that day, but
Mm.
I was teaching you about some different stuff to you guys.
Mhm.
But you guys being able to be flexible and dealing with that, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So a little bit off topic here,
Here
but
we go. I was waiting for this.
no, it's not. It's not what you're waiting for just yet. I got something else I'm gonna.
I
talk
knew
to
you would
about
go
it.
off topic. Just
I
kidding. Just-
yeah. You mentioned that you're excited for Lakers Wolves tonight. Lakers
Yes,
in
sir.
5? Question mark. What's going on? What do you think? Use your
That's
NBA
o-
knowledge, man.
That's
Enlighten me.
over. Lakers in 5 is done.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, dude.
okay, wait, hold on. So can someone explain Lakers to 5 to me? Because I've been sitting here the entire like
Oh,
the time not knowing what this means because I don't know anything about the NBA or like the Lakers or anything. Like I'm
Basically,
Yeah.
playoff series are BO5, right?
7.
Or BO7. And so to win a BO7, you need to win 5 games. And so
Okay.
it was like, everyone's like Lakers in 5. Because it's like, they thought the Lakers were going to win in 5 games, but it's 3-1 Wolves right now.
oh
But
they're cooked.
all I'm saying is LeBron has seen 3-1 before.
Just so you know, Trey, in the simplest terms possible, it is physically impossible for the Lakers to win in 5 games.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Lakers would need to win in 7. They would need to win the next 3 games.
In a row.
You got to think about how you guys do esports. Valorant, whatever you guys play. For me, growing up, it was the NBA. So the Lakers got to win tonight. They got to win Game 6, and they got to win Game 7. And you guys know I'm rooting for the Timberwolves. They're my favorite team in the league to watch. I am a huge Anthony Edwards fan. He's my favorite player right now. Derrick Rose is my favorite player of all time, so he's the past. Ant-Man's the present. So the game is 10 o'clock. Like I said, Grandpa's going to have to stay up past his bedtime to go ahead and watch that game. But I can't wait. I almost wore my LeBron jersey because you just to troll a little bit.
LeBron.
I know that's your guy. I love LeBron too. Don't get me wrong. I really like LeBron. I always have. I think Luka's got a ton of game. But I think this series is over.
Bro,
Knock on wood, man.
my King can't go out like this. My beautiful LaBoo Bear.
Oh my God. I don't know if it ends tonight. They're gonna get LeBron's and Luka's best punch tonight, but I think it's a matter of time.
All right.
Because if not, if there were to be a Game 6,
You heard it here first. Wolves are winning everything, winning it
oh,
all.
I didn't say that.
Nope, I'm pretty sure he said it.
What I hope for,
I heard that too. Yeah.
I'm getting way too ahead of myself here, but just for the audience watching at home, the next round would hypothetically be Wolves versus the Warriors, and that will be absolute cinema.
Okay.
There's a lot of beef between those two teams. There's a lot of storylines between those two teams, and then if you were to keep it going, which I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I love the NBA playoffs. This is my favorite time of year.
Mm.
You got the Wolves and the Thunder. Oh my God!
From what I know, I don't watch a lot of basketball.
You just love LeBron.
I love my LaBoo Bear, my La King, my La Goat. But
He's going home, buddy. I hate to break it to you.
bruh, you said it. You said it on me.
I didn't say the Wolves are going to win the championship. Right? This is the first round.
Yeah.
But going into this series, Trey, I'll help you out a little bit. You got all these people at ESPN who are paid to cover the game and are paid to pick predictions. Everybody had the Lakers winning this series. Everybody.
Mm.
The Wolves were the underdogs. Lakers were the 3 seed. Wolves were the 6. You name it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're in a situation where, like you said, 3-1. I know LeBron came back from 3-1 before. That was a long time ago. I was in college.
We got to roll back some years, man. Nah, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, OKC look kind of untouchable right now, right?
They're really good. They're really good. They were in a situation where they totally earned the number 1 seed. Shea's probably going to win MVP, which he deserves. Joker's been unbelievable this season. Shout out to League of Legends. Showed you guys that in class. He's a League of Legends player. But we're in a situation where the Wolves and OKC matchup, that would just be awesome to watch. But again, you got to beat the Lakers. You probably got to beat the Warriors to get there, which you don't want to get too ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
But the Thunder are really good. Memphis kind of came in limping. Unfortunately, they had just let go of their head coach right before the playoffs, so
Yeah,
it was a goofy situation. But no, the Thunder look really good. I don't think they're untouchable though. But
What about the East? It's East, right?
Yeah,
Undirectionally challenged.
jeez. Obviously, Boston was, I think, the team that was untouchable last year. They won it all, and they deserved it. I don't think anybody was beating them. Obviously, the last year, the Wolves made it to the Western Conference Finals. They lost to the Mavs. They lost to Luka, which is a whole other storyline. But honestly, you guys know I like the Wolves. They weren't beating Boston last year.
Yeah.
So now this year, you're in a situation where you have Boston and Cleveland.
Yeah.
So Cleveland has risen through the ranks. They got a new head coach, and they start off the season on fire. So those are the two teams to watch for. Obviously, you got Pacers fans here. Pacers clinched the series last night and send the Bucks home. But we'll see what happens. I think it's one of those two teams in the East. The Knicks had a chance to close it out last night, but Boston and Cleveland, if that would be a great Eastern Conference Finals. The West, top to bottom, is just way better than the East.
Okay.
So, like, the West is way deeper. But I don't know, man. Your glorious king might be packing his bags for Cancun. And again, I love LeBron. Don't get it twisted. I do.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he's done in this series at the age of 40
Mm.
has been incredible, and
Yeah.
I've watched every game start to finish.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, those Wolves, man,
Yeah.
they're here. So
I guess kind of switching topics, but staying in the sports realm because that's where you like to hang out.
Yeah.
NFL draft was recently, right?
yeah.
The only thing I know about that were the Bears made questionable draft decisions with that one tight end. My cousin called going to the bar becoming Shador because he wasn't getting picked up.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy, man.
Dude. Like me and Shador, I mean, we got something in common, man. That's all I'm saying.
Oh
Not
my
getting
gosh.
picked, but
He did get drafted.
he
by the way.
did, but like
Homework assignment for everybody at home. Go look at where Tom Brady got drafted.
that is.
I'm not saying Shador Sanders.
Shador is okay at best, and he got drafted okay at best, and everyone's like, "Bruh, why?" Like, I don't know.
I'm a big fan of the NBA draft, but whatever draft it is, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You don't want to look at where somebody got drafted. It's not a good indicator of talent
Mm-hmm.
for down the road. So
Yeah.
at the NFL draft, basically, I'm a casual when it comes to the NFL. I can't yap about that as much. But the guy Warren, the Colts got,
Yeah. Tyler Warren.
Yep.
He's good.
he was supposed to go higher,
Yeah.
projected to go higher. And what the Bears did by drafting Loveland was they kind of shook it up a little bit. That's why it was controversial and polarizing. We were talking about that.
Mm.
But I hope they're both good. There's some really, really good players in the NFL draft. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. A missed opportunity from this class, and I want to post it for the guys that are in our class that are watching this, is John Gruden's QB class, the YouTube series, where he goes and he talks with the quarterbacks who did getting drafted, but the highest profile quarterbacks. John Gruden is an electric factory when it comes to content.
Mm.
Former coach, knows the game as well, if not better than anybody. And we talked about in class about information and entertainment. He's got both of those down pat. So Gruden's QB class, I should have shown you guys, but there's only so much time in a semester.
Yeah.
So that's some great content for you to watch.
Yeah. I guess talked about sports a little bit.
Yep.
Now for the real discussion, what everyone's here for.
Yeah, I know.
Talking about Jimmy scalping.
Oh yeah, his scalping industry.
Yeah. There's lore with that, right? I wanted to
Yeah,
lore going to the
that's-
class.
Yeah.
Of course.
And here we go. So
Jimmy has gradually decided to come out as a scalper. Yeah, he was like showing us videos in class of him at one of the Pokemon vending machines, whatever they are,
Yeah.
Pokemon Center things at a Meijer, and it was completely empty. And you never showed us your shopping cart.
just go ahead and just dox me while you're at it.
I mean, your shopping cart was not shown on camera, therefore, I'm just assuming we know what teaching pays. We know what teaching pays. Like you are, like I know, Jimmy. You can't hide from me.
You said that in class. I'm like, there's no way you just said that right now.
We know, bro. We know. It's okay. There's been strikes about it. Like strikes about what teachers get paid. Like they're not scalping enough. Like Jimmy over here, he's gamed the system. He's figured it out.
The biggest mistake I made was talking about how ticket scalping. That's where I first heard the term.
Mm-hmm. And then we saw right through your lies, Jimmy. Right through them.
Shout out to Ryland for making that video.
Shout out.
Wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah.
I just want to continue the shout out train going here. Obviously, we shout out guys in our class. Matthew. Braden is from Minnesota, big Timberwolves fan. So he's rooting for them.
Trying to change the topic, Jimmy?
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking about our class. Like, it's all I can think about. I can't believe it's over. You guys were handing the final, and you guys were walking out the door, going out your merry way, and I was like, this is pain right now, man.
As much pain as he found when there wasn't any prismatic evolutions left in the vending machine. Come on, Jimmy.
Jimmy, I hope you know that this is not going to end. Like, this is... I guarantee you...
I'm going to go to your next semester classes and tell them about this. You can't escape me.
No, I know. Listen, man.
It's gonna go to your middle school and tell them
Oh,
about this.
Yeah, I'm driving to Fisher's, and I'm gonna tell them that Jimmy has Pokemon cards, and all you gotta do is ask him really nicely for him. It's like the Riot Buddy thing for Valorant, where it's like you ping your favorite player and ask him for a Riot Buddy, it's like all the DMs and stuff. It's like, yo, DM Jimmy on Twitter if you want Pokemon cards. Like he has them. He has them.
I have a very, very limited collection. I mean, after all the scalping, but
Yeah, all of it's closed product instead of opening packs because you gotta sell it.
prismatic evolutions. Nah, that's funny. Like, I don't know. On a serious note, I have a lot of different interests.
Like
and-
scalping.
Yeah. And that led to situations probably where you're like, what the heck is this guy talking about in class right now? You getting off topic, tangents, all that different stuff.
Yeah.
But, where I was at was I just wanted you guys to have fun, learn something, and that's all. I know what you're going to say. We learn how to scalp.
Yeah, we did learn how to scalp. Great.
But we did learn a lot more too.
Yeah,
Like,
we learned.
Thanks,
we learned
Trey.
a lot.
I'll be the tame person here for
Voice of
once.
reason.
Yeah,
But
not me. Not my job description.
Everything was smooth until you brought up scalping.
Yeah.
So, you were going along well for
oh,
a
it's
while.
all getting more unhinged
Oh
from
my
here.
gosh.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Well, I guess talking about Pokemon. Remember that age-old debate who would win all the Pokemon versus all the billion lions?
I've seen a
Which,
lot of crazy
By
things.
the way, a billion lions, like they're
Charizard.
winning. Like that's a
Charizard.
lot of lions, man.
Charizard. He just
Yeah, but what is Charizard gonna do against a billion lions? I don't think you can comprehend how
He
much
can
a
fly.
billion is. Yeah, but you can just stack the lions and make
He
a
can-
lion tower.
dude, if you do that, you just take out the bottom.
No, you don't.
go,
It's a lion.
So you're bringing all the Pokemon.
Every single. So there's like. Hold up, I'm gonna look it up. I have my laptop right
I
now.
only said Charizard because that's the only one I know. Like, I know
How
Pikachu.
many
I know Mewtwo.
Pokemon
Okay, I actually know
are there?
a lot more. Squirtle.
There's only 1,025 Pokemon.
You're saying every Pokemon versus a billion
All of them.
lions.
No,
Oh.
all 1,025 Pokemon versus 1 billion lions.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
The lions
easy.
are winning.
No.
1 billion lions.
Definitely not.
Okay, but some of those Pokemon are really powerful.
That's
I
what
know
I'm
it's a billion.
saying.
I know
Yeah,
it's
but
a
there's a
billion.
billion of them.
I know.
Okay, but like,
No.
how many of those Pokemons have like abilities that could just like delete half those?
Yeah, but like it's only half. There's a. You know how much more there is?
Okay, all he has to do is do it twice.
Yeah,
and
but
then
like
boom.
there's a billion lions. I don't understand. I don't think you guys can comprehend how much a billion
Oh,
is.
okay, real quick. Where would this battle be taking place? Because there's no way
The
that, like-
Earth.
okay, where on Earth? Like a billion lions and
They're
then
everywhere.
1,000 Pokemon?
Anywhere.
Like,
The lions can come from anywhere. There's a billion of them.
well, also think about what is it? Like, is it Jigglypuff that can put people to sleep?
Yep.
One
Dude,
li-
you just
that's
put
one
the
lion. That's one
all
lion.
the lions to sleep.
Oh my.
Nah.
That's one lion.
He's got crowd control. You know, he's got that.
Singular lion
area
goes to sleep.
effect.
Oh no, wake up, Kevin. Go murk that little pink thing in the corner. Like he put you to sleep. I'm telling you, billion lions are destroying them.
Dude, lions
You're
cannot
probably
fly
right.
though. That's the thing.
They can stack up and make a lion
No.
tower.
You're probably right, Sam. Don't underestimate the strength of Pokemon, though.
I'm not
Yeah.
underestimating Pokemon. I am just saying that a billion lions is
I don't
a
think
lot
lions
of
can
lions.
coordinate
You're right.
a stacked tower.
You're underestimating the lions.
I'm underestimating lions because I don't think they could do it.
What do
Like,
you mean?
You're telling me that lions can comprehend and then like stack themselves up
Yes.
in a tower?
Yes.
Okay, but hadn't like,
Yes.
but even like the Pokemon, like they're definitely like higher IQ than lions.
Not happening. No.
No,
Pokemon have to be told what to do to do it.
All right, well,
Pikachu, use Thunderbolt! Like, no one's going to tell you to do that against a billion lions. It's the Pokemon, not the Pokemon trainers.
okay, but like I feel like the Pokemon could still like
Charizard's dumb. I was about to
Charizard
say a
go
bad
burr
word.
and just go.
Charizard's not smart enough to do that if the lions aren't smart enough to make a
Okay.
lion tower.
There is a Pokemon who is the god of all the other Pokemon.
Yeah, but he's the god of the Pokemon, not the god of a billion lions.
God's a god. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and a billion lions is a billion lions.
Well,
We'll leave the
I
comments.
guess
to
we'll never
decide
know.
this.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was trying to segue into like one gorilla versus 100 guys, but
Yep, here we go.
I mean like
I can
that's
take
a
gorilla.
little more straightforward. There's no way,
No, I think 100 guys could win.
Look,
dude.
I've been seeing this
Dude.
all over the last couple days, and I would love to have talked about it in class. maybe one last assignment. You tell me we can have a dialogue
One
about it.
last assignment.
Okay. This is a conclusion I've reached. Are you ready for this, Sam?
Mm,
I've spent way too much time thinking about this. I'm not much of a boxing or UFC fan,
mm-hmm.
but let's think about boxing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think with boxing, you just hit the guy in the face and you just wear him down,
Yeah.
right? And you just punch him in the face. Well, no. You got to hit his body first. You got to wear him down from his body so then it's tough for him to even move or defend himself,
Mhm.
right? I think you got to do the same thing with the gorilla.
Okay.
So you got to like work on his legs. You got to work like low first. Take his legs out from underneath him.
Okay. But are 100 average guys gonna think about that?
They could coordinate that. If one guy has the idea, boom.
And then the gorilla goes, "Ooh, ooh, ah, ah," and then just slaps them into oblivion, splat on a brick wall.
Look, there's a lot of debate about this, and you guys can go ahead and pull up the clip from the Timberwolves Twitter account. They asked the Timberwolves players what would happen. You think about it. If it's one guy going after the gorilla after one guy after one guy, of course not.
Someone's gonna go in first. You're
I
instantly
understand-
down
I
to
understand
99.
that.
You're
I
instantly
understand
down to 99.
Okay, but who's to say that there's not a group of 20?
Yeah, I still think the gorilla goes, "Ooh, ooh, ah, ah."
I mean, I think they drag out the fight long enough. Like they have like 20 guys at a time, right? And they just like wear him down. So by like the last 40, he's like cooked. And then like they can just like finally start dogpiling on him and then like absolutely just destroy him.
Yeah,
Like I
but,
think that there's a lot of strategy that would have to go into it beforehand, but I think they could totally do it.
I feel like a gorilla, I feel like if you get hit by a gorilla, like your just ribs are gone.
maybe, but
like
at the
you
same
are
time,
barbecue.
like you're cooked regardless, so you might as
You're
well
not
keep
cooked.
fighting for the other
You're
guys.
like slow roasted and then served on a silver platter.
Well, okay, if you're gonna get hit in the ribs, like you're likely gonna be able to like not gonna die yet, but like you'll still be like struggling, obviously, but like you'll still be up. You can still fight, or at least be a human shield.
Oh my god, owie, owie, my ribs, ooh, ooh, ah, ah. And then you die. He crushes
Okay,
your
but, like,
skull.
Look, there's going to be casualties, obviously.
There's
Yeah, we've
obviously
already accepted the
casualties,
casualties.
but we lost to King Kong with attack
King
helicopters.
Kong was like 60 feet tall,
Yeah, but it's a gorilla.
but
Hold
he's
up.
60 feet. He's massive.
I'm about to look up average gorilla specs.
I think that's the key right there. Specs is crazy. Oh my god.
are about. He's got like. I mean, look at this guy. Like those are tree trunks.
5'6".
Yeah, he's 5'6", but his stomach, like gorilla stomachs, are really hard.
5'6",
Like you can break your
374
hand
pounds.
by punching a gorilla stomach.
Okay, that's why you don't punch his stomach. Punch his face.
Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, and then he just swings his arms around. What are you gonna do against a gorilla spinning in circles where you can't hit
I'll
his
spin in
stomach?
circles.
He's a Beyblade, bro. It's just an episode of Beyblade Metal Fusion all over again, where the gorilla's spinning around and just taking out people one by one.
Do you think they can wear him down, Sam?
No,
Yes.
or they can wear him down,
Yes,
but he can still
easily.
just spin.
Okay, but he wears him down, and then he won't be able to spin because he'll be too exhausted.
Oh
That's the
my
thing.
gosh, dude! There's no way this became a thing when I gave my final. Like I could see it now. I would have a blast hearing you guys talk about this in class.
This just needs to be like in your core, like curriculum for next semester.
Yeah, core curriculum. Correct answers: gorilla versus 100 people.
It was a
Guerrilla
thing.
combat? Wait, is that an
I'm-
actual place?
I think so, but I'm just. Oh boy, animal expert weighs in on 100 men versus one
Oh, here we
gorilla.
go.
I'm not gonna watch that. That
It-
would
32
shatter
minute
my
I'm
video.
gonna
brain.
say this. It was a thing on Sunday,
Mm,
and with as loud as it got in Target Center where the Timberwolves play, Michael Grady, the Wolves play-by-play announcer, he said, "I think 100 Wolves fans could take on one gorilla with as crazy as they
Yeah.
got." I thought that was a funny tweet. I legitimately considered making it another extra credit question in the final. I had just went ahead and printed all the finals like last week,
mhm,
so I guess at that stage I was too lazy to do anything.
yeah,
But I was gonna put it. I was gonna put it on the final.
yeah.
But it's like there's no way this became a thing right when class was over.
Yeah, I don't even know how this became a thing. I just got asked it one day, and I was like, dude,
It's
like-
one of those things that just starts on Twitter and then it just spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
And then you have, again, we've talked about LeBron a lot, but one LeBron versus 10 gorillas. I saw that tweet.
I feel like, okay, that's different. LeBron is
One
obviously
LeBron
winning
versus
against
10 gorillas? Dude, totally the gorillas.
Dude, LeBron is destroying the gorillas.
There you
Okay,
go.
okay, then hold
He's
on a
using
second.
his
hold on a
Le
second.
Domain
What
expansion.
if LeBron is one of those 100 guys?
Bingo. That was my next question.
Okay,
Boom.
but it's average guys. LeBron is anything but average. That
But
guy
what if he
spends
is average?
millions to keep his body the way it is. Like, LeBron is not an average guy. An average man is not even 6 foot. An average man is 5'10".
When you look
I'm
at,
average.
when you looked at the specs and you looked at it and it's like, okay, we lost to King Kong.
Mm.
We're not fighting King Kong.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, but also, like, it's not even the same guys who fucking young. The average male body is just under 5 feet 8 inches, weighs between roughly 175 and 200 pounds. You don't think a gorilla is turning you into mist when he hits you?
No. I think I could take at least 2 gorilla hits.
Trey, if you could take 2 gorilla hits, I will eat my shoe on the next podcast. I will eat my shoe fork and knife. I'll put it in a bun, and I will eat it. If we'll go to the zoo right now, we'll film it.
I might not be in the next podcast regardless, you know. Either I'll be in the hospital recovering or I'll just be
Production.
Look.
No, or the grill will have gotten me fully.
We can talk about it all day long.
But
You made your points. I
I
made
mean,
my
my
points.
intelligent points.
Yeah.
There's valid arguments on both sides, but we're in a situation where if you think about it, if you break it down, I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds. Yes, gorillas are very powerful. Yes, there are going to be many casualties. If I were to sit up here and say, yes, all the 100 men are going to survive, then I'd sound like an idiot.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
You know,
Yeah, obviously.
but there's
Sacrifices
nuance
have
to
to be
it.
made.
Yeah,
There's nuance.
sacrifices
Yeah.
have to be
It's a
made.
podcast, you know, they should make podcast equipment less accessible.
They aren't ready for my hot takes when we get real podcast equipment.
Oh God.
Oh man.
But I guess that being said, speaking of podcasts, I think it's time we, wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Alrighty.
Thank you for coming on today, Jimmy. It's been a pleasure having you both as a teacher and as a podcast guest.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah. Guys, it's been great.
Any last shout outs that you want to do? I know you layered in 154 shout outs, but 155 can't hurt.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. It's like the Pokemon. 150 and more to see. Well, it's really 151, but I mean, shout out to both of you, first of all, for having me on. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Chris. I know he couldn't be here.
Yeah.
Do want to give him a shout out. Shout out to everybody in our class. Everybody.
All right.
Love y'all, man. And that's that. And thank you for allowing me to do this.
We loved having you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, my man.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Well.
So, go Wolves tonight.
See ya.
Wolves back.
Later.
Thank you for watching. For more updates, follow the Butler Esports socials at Butler Esports.